What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another look at the vintage collection. Lots of cool sales that we're going to go through. I wanted to say thank you to Stu over at Universal Toy Collector. I was on his 24-hour live stream. I was only there for 2 hours, not the full 24, folks. But we had a nice chat, and we had Boss Bounty, and we had Only One Kenobi, Phil the Force. I mean, we had Imperial Communicate, Anthony over there. I can't even remember everybody that was in that panel, but we talked about the Phantom Menace and talked about our most wanted. Lots of fun, and I think I was around the hour 4 mark in the live stream over on Stu's channel, so go check that out when you get a chance. I also have a couple of thanks, or 3 different thanks to give out for recent supers that were sent to me last week. Sith Droid, Jim Walsh, and Laugh It Up Fuzzball 70. Again, he has always sent a bunch of them, as has Jim. So thank you guys so much for the channel supers that you sent through YouTube for videos you liked last week. Appreciate the channel support. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at some vintage collection that has sold in the last week or so. There were some gems, some big boy items that we're going to go through, graded and ungraded. The first is a foil VC09 Boba Fett Ultimate Galactic Hunt. It looked to be in really clean condition, US card, and that one was listed for $140, which by itself, that's not a terrible price as it is. And the best offer accepted on that was $120. So that's about the going rate. I found them anywhere from as high as $150. The lowest I've found here recently was $110. So that was kind of towards the lower end of the range, but a very nice looking foil Ultimate Galactic Hunt Boba Fett. Next up, I've got a couple of different special action figure sets, the Target exclusive 3-packs. 2 of them ungraded, 1 of them graded. This is the Imperial Forces set with Bosk IG-88 and the Hoth Stormtrooper punched example. Again, Target exclusive. That one sold for $100. I found 2 other data points, one at $90, one at $110. This was right in the middle at $100. And then here is the C-3PO R2-D2 Chewbacca Android set. This one is also a Target exclusive. This one was a punched example. That one did sell for $100 as well. Now, here was an interesting one. This one, it looks like it's damaged, but it's just the outer kind of wrapping around the AFA case. But this is the Villain set, another Target exclusive. And this one was graded AFA 8.5. And there it is there. It says Target exclusive Villain set, AFA 8.5. Now, the interesting thing is that this one did not have the Target exclusive sticker in the lower right. And what's interesting is that I had a factory test shot example. So it's like a pre-production example testing out the factory mold. And on the back of it was a little gold embossed number right near C-3PO on the bottom of the back. It was kind of a gold embossment with a number. And that correlates to a Hasbro tracking number that allows the engineers, I guess, to track which example, who's got the example in their office. I don't know exactly the right term for it, but so this one is just a standard retail release. But the interesting thing is this one did not have the Target sticker on it, whereas mine, which was a pre-production sample, did have the Target sticker on there. So I just thought it was kind of an interesting thing that this one must have missed it in the factory. But this was an AFA 8.5. That one sold for $400, which, given that this one ungraded, you can usually buy for around maybe $100 or so, sometimes even less than that. $400 is a big number for an 8.5 graded AFA example of the Villain set. Next up, we got a Clone Commander Cody. This is a punched example, just the standard retail release, non-foil, with the Boba Fett rocket firing offer on there. And again, this one is a punched example. I think we talked last week about an unpunched that sold in the TVC Rebels Facebook group. And I did get confirmation from 2 of the members there that the unpunched Cody that was sold in the Facebook group sold for 500 pounds. So that's what, about $650 US, somewhere in that ballpark. But this one was a punched example listed for $175. And the best offer accepted on that was $165. And this one has some very light edgeware to it. By no means perfect, but also by no means a rough condition card back. So you can see a little bit of edgeware on the bottom at the back left, the bottom left-hand corner there. But in general, fairly clean. And 165 took that one home with about 11 bucks shipping. Here's the big one. This one was a big one, and it sat for a little while on eBay. I was curious to see if it would sell. It's an unpunched Canadian VC20 Yoda, obviously with the alternate image of Yoda and the multi-language name pill. Now, we've seen a few, this one got really, really pricey during the heyday of collectibles back in, I guess, 2021, 2022. I think the record that I remember was around $2,800 US, and I think that was for a graded one. Again, I'm going on memory. I don't remember exactly, but I know that there was one that sold for over $2,500. I think it was around $2,800. Now, they've been coming down. They've been coming way back down, and I think that for punched examples, I've seen as low as about $800. This one obviously was an unpunched example in really good condition from what I can tell there. I mean, super clean, maybe just some very faint edge wear if you're being picky on it. But this is probably the most expensive retail release figure that's out there, right? I'm excluding some of the SDCC stuff, the box sets like the SDCC Death Star, things like that. But in terms of retail releases, this one is probably the biggest grail there is. And I think we might have seen a little bit lower than this price for an unpunched example, but it's been a little while. It's been a hot minute since I remember an unpunched example selling. And I'm sure some of you can fill out in the comments below with your memories, or maybe you bought one for less than what this one sold for, of $13.50. So comment below while you're leaving a like. If you've managed to pick up a VC20 fairly recently, unpunched, that was below this $13.50 number. And again, I'm going on memory. I vaguely remember a conversation on Instagram and some of the private messages that they picked it up for around $1,100 or $1,200. So that might be the right range, I think, to aim for. But again, there hasn't been one that I've seen anyway on eBay that has been listed in a while. So, if you're impatient, $13.50 is certainly a lot better than $2,800, right? So pretty awesome example. And again, $13.50 took that one home in a buy it now situation. Kit Fisto, I found several different sales for him, unpunched. This one was a good deal. This one was listed for $125. The best offer accepted was $90 for an unpunched. And I found several sales, even in auctions, for punched examples that were going for above 90 bucks. So you never know what you're going to get or how much a seller is going to come off unless you try. And, 125, they dropped it all the way down to 90 bucks for an unpunched example. Great deal on that one. Zam Wessel, this is a beautiful unpunched US card. That one sold. This seller same seller as the VC20 Canadian Yoda, had two of the Zam Wessels unpunched. Both of them did sell for $105 plus shipping. And then again, the same seller had three of the AT-RT driver from the Revenge of the Sith unpunched examples. Two of them did sell. One still available at $120. So two at $120 have sold. Next up, we all know about the Sand Trooper and how desirable this one is and continues to be. The highest price I've seen recently was almost $200. I found another data point at $175. This one is unpunched, but it had a little bit of a kind of a crease or something on the hang tab there. So it looks like maybe it was hung on the tab on the hooks at retail and punched through it, but it didn't actually remove the actual hanger tab from it. Because on the back it looks pretty good. It's just on the front it looks like it's been just creased a little bit there. But beautiful example. VC112 Sand Trooper, that one did sell for $150. And again, I've seen a few examples sell in that $100 to $125 range that were punched. So this was a very clean example, though, for $150 free shipping. Here we go, Jar Jar Binks. This was an unpunched, obviously, Jar Jar Binks from the SDCC octagonal box set with the Lost line. And this one did sell in an auction for $510 in the auction. And pretty clean overall, maybe just some very light dings to it, but that's being very picky. But $510 for that one, and that's about right. I mean, usually buy it nows are like $550 to $600, so you would expect to go maybe a little bit less in an auction. 17 bids on that one. That one just closed this last Saturday at $510. Next up, I got a few vehicles before we finish off with some graded examples as well as a couple of diorama type things that I thought were really cool to show you. This one was the Toys R Us exclusive original issue X-Wing, and it also included the Luke Skywalker Jedi Destiny set, which I believe was an SDCC exclusive. Don't quote me on that. Maybe it was a Target exclusive. I can't remember. My memory is terrible, but this was a pretty good deal here. $171 in an auction for both the Jedi Destiny 3-pack as well as a mint and seal box Toys R Us X-Wing fighter. Not a bad deal at all, given that the X-Wing fighter can usually go for about $150 minimum. And to get the Jedi Destiny set, which goes for, I'd say, anywhere from 50 to $100. Pretty good deal there to get both of them for $171 plus $25 shipping. This was a higher price than I'm used to. This is the Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter. I've sent a few of these out to my Patreons and buy it now alerts in this ballpark. I think the one I sent out recently was slightly below this number. It was around $175. But this one did sell at $210 plus $15 shipping. That's the Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter with the Darth Maul offer. Next up, we had the very desirable Empire Strikes Back packaging for the Toys R Us AT-AT, All-Terrain Armored Transport. This box did have a couple of minor scratches, which you would expect over time. It's just such a big item that storage, it's going to get jostled in storage over time in people's collections. So it had a couple of very minor issues, but it was still factory sealed. That one did sell at $725. That one just sold. Free shipping on that one. So pretty decent deal on that. And that's, I think I've seen as high as about $860, $870 on that one. Maybe after factoring in shipping as high as $900. So $725, given the slight condition issues to it, I thought that was a pretty decent deal there. Here was a surprise. This was the sail barge, the Katana HasLab, still in the factory shipper box. And usually we've been kind of seeing $2,400, $2,500, $2,600 in that ballpark. This one was local pickup only, so that kept the price down. Where was this located? This one was in California, so it would not be conducive for someone like me to grab it. But if you're in California and you saw this one listed, this was a great deal at $1,825 by going to pick it up. Let's say you spend $100 in gas max to get it for $1,825 plus taxes. So maybe you got it for about $2,000, somewhere in that ballpark. Not a bad deal, given that they've been going for $2,500 to $2,700 pretty consistently. Maybe $2,300 plus shipping in some cases, but that's not a bad deal at all there. Some graded examples. We had a foil Han Solo Echo base. This was 9.5 on the modern scale from AFA. Very, very high grade. Tough to get this one, especially given that this was kind of the early release Ultimate Galactic Hunt in a 9.5 grade. Very high grade. That one sold for $227.50 plus $14 shipping in an auction. We also had an uncirculated 8.5 VCP03 rocket firing mail away Boba Fett. That one sold for $250. And, you can pick up, admittedly, probably not uncirculated, but you could probably pick this up ungraded for about $100 now. That seems to be the kind of the going rate, somewhere between $100 and $125. Now, you could send it in yourself to AFA, probably pretty easily get an 8.5 grade. It's harder to get the 9.5 or the 9.0, but to get an 8.5 is not that difficult with AFA, especially for these modern items. So you could probably save yourself some money. But if you had to have the uncirculated designation, you just got to make sure you pick it up still sealed in the shipper box and send it in to AFA. But, $250 is not the worst price, but not the best I've seen either. I mean, I think if you wait for an auction on one of these, I bet you get it sub $200 pretty easily. But $250.77 took that one home. South Beach Toys had both the retail version as well as the SDCC Death Star box set version of VC64 Princess Leia in her slave outfit, graded by Collector Archive Services. So this is the Revenge of the Jedi retail release with the prototype Fett offer sticker. It was graded CAS 90. It was listed for $475. The best offer accepted on that was $425. And then here is the Revenge of the Jedi offerless, no paperwork inside the blister. So this is the SDCC example. And you can see there it's labeled Revenge of the Jedi. I mean, CAS should really label this SDCC on there, kind of the way AFA does and UKG does. I don't know why CAS doesn't do that, but they labeled this as Princess Leia's Slave Outfit, Revenge of the Jedi. And then you look at this one. This one is also labeled Revenge of the Jedi. So, you can't, this is not the same item, CAS. This is the retail release with the prototype Fed offer. This is the offer list with no paperwork inside the blister. So this is an SDCC exclusive. So it really should be updated on the labeling. But anyway, that one was listed for $575, and that best offer, it doesn't show as best offer accepted, but I did look it up on 130 point. The best offer accepted on that was $525. So they came off about $50 on each of those high-grade VC64s. Here was an AFA 9.0 Lumat US card unpunched. That one sold at auction for $127.50, which is not a bad deal, really. I mean, I found some examples ungraded that sold it higher than this price. So that was a really good deal there on an AFA 9.0 Lumat unpunched US card, $127.50. This seller, I think I had these in my what to buy video last week. This was an uncirculated 90 Obi-Wan Wandering Jedi. This one was listed for $80, and the best offer accepted on that was $65 plus $13 shipping. It cost $60 or $70 to get it graded. So this seller was just dumping them, and a great deal on that for an uncirculated 90 for $65 plus shipping. And then here are the last two I wanted to show you just because they were so cool. I don't think it's big enough, but I think that this seller had multiple sizes. So there's a 50 centimeter as well as a 40 centimeter. And this is a Purgil, I don't know how you pronounce it, but the space whales that we saw in the Ahsoka series. You can see the scale versus the 3 3/4 inch scale version of Ahsoka. But look at the detail on this figure. It is so cool, and the colors on it are incredible. So it's not cheap, right? It's $85, but this is, I think, yeah, this is that same seller that has a lot of diorama type stuff in Sri Lanka. And I've heard from a number of you that you really like this seller's stuff, but this is, you can tell it's very clearly 3D printed, with the kind of texture on there. That's kind of a 3D printing thing. But man, that looks awesome. And if the paint apps are truly that good, then Hasbro is insane to not release a baby Purgil. This is just an incredible item, and very, very cool. So he's got one more left, so I'll put a link of an eBay affiliate link in here in case you want to check it out. But it's $85. It's not cheap, but it's a pretty awesome detail to that Purgil. And then he also has, same seller, still has 5 available of the Death Star conference room or briefing room. I might have shown this before, I don't know, but one recently did sell for $150. Awesome detail on this, and he still has 5 available. 17 have sold, but that's a really nice set there that you could probably spruce up with even more kind of stuff and stickers and things like that. But that's a really awesome looking Death Star conference room. Vader needs to choke out Admiral Mati, I think it was. But pretty awesome set there. So that seller's got some really awesome diorama type stuff. So I'll put links in the video description for both the Purgil as well as the conference room in case you want to go check out. And he's got other stuff available. I mean, he's got so many awesome dioramas that I've heard from a number of you that you've said that you've been very happy with their items. So I just wanted to show it because they sold recently, and I just thought they looked awesome. So that's all I really had for this episode of the Vintage Collection Market Update. Thank you again to my super contributors, Sith Droid, Jim Walsh, and Laugh It Up Fuzzball 70. Appreciate you guys, and I will be back very soon.